if this is gonna happen today or not.
I didn't know that there were any issues with it.
There wasn't.
We
It
pulled
worked
the plug before
perfectly
we came
fine.
in, so.
What'd you do?
Pulled the plug before we came in.
Yeah. You can't. You wouldn't even know where to look.
Should be looking for an actual plug.
I know. Oh, I guess we can start it anyway. So you can just start. I don't know if this is gonna work.
Okay.
Yeah, I
or
don't know
not,
if
so.
it is or not.
Call the meeting to order.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Welcome everyone. Present we have Tim Keeney, Selectmen. Tim Petrikis will not join us tonight. Mike Marinaccio, the Chief Financial Officer. Brian Wissinger, our Assistant Finance Director. Kim Liddick, our Police Administrator. Chief John Roach. Kim LaFleur, our Operations Director. Elson Maynard, Director of Social Services. And Bill Meyer from the Board of Finance. First item on the agenda is the Fire Department staffing request. Chief, you want to lead us through that?
Sure. So there's a request for a part-time employee. We currently have several open part-time positions. This one was going to be for Matt Mazzioni. He's already certified EMT firefighter 2. He's actually the half brother of one of our other part-time members, John Sarnick. Who's interested in coming here working part-time. So we'd like to make a conditional offer. Putting an asterisk with it, he is also actively looking at other jobs and being interview process in other places, so he may or may not start here.
We're still not competitive, are we?
That's the problem.
Ellington Ambulance next door, or Enfield EMS for $23-24 an hour. I'm paying $19.25.
Yeah.
Stick to makes sense. I'd like to make a
But let's try it.
I'd like to make a
Yeah.
motion that we authorize the fire department to hire Matt Manzioni to be hired as a part-time firefighter EMT,
At the starting rate of $19.25
starting rate of
an hour. I second
$19.25
that
an hour.
motion. Any additional discussion? All in favor? Aye. I'm sorry, additional discussion?
No, I was just going to mention again, this non-competitive rate is, I think, a pretty serious issue for the
Yeah.
town. And it's not fair to the fire department. It's not fair to the town, and it needs to be fixed. Has there ever been any efforts made to
Well, we have a
increase the
contract.
rates coming up in April?
Yeah.
The contract will be open in January. We can start renegotiations for next
Yeah,
July.
we're going to have to. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to attract
Yeah, it's
qualified
just
folks.
crazy. We're the
I think
bottom
you're
of the
going to want
barrel.
to give yourself some flexibility in that contract so that you can move upward over the 3-year period or 2-year period, whatever it is.
Another thing I just wanted to ask about with regards to part-time, you're also talking about, we're also dealing with you have lots of volunteers. What kind of incentive program do you have for them for retirement purposes?
So the volunteers do have some retirement, so they do have town does offer a pension program. It's not incredible, but it's something. It's probably enough
You ever compared it to other towns? Because I saw it was $5 a year for each year of service. Is that right?
for the monthly pension, yeah.
A lot of
So-
other towns don't even have
Don't have pensions.
a pension.
Look at
fund,
Enfield.
so.
Some do tax abatements versus the pension. That was the kind of the
Yeah.
toss-up back and forth.
Yeah.
The one thing that we did look at is between all of the stipend, the uniform allowance, the gas allowance, the pension, they're not allowed to exceed, I think it's 1/14 of the starting rate of a part-time firefighter. So you have to take what the $19.25 an hour, figure out what that is an hourly rate, and the stipends that the volunteers can't exceed by NLRB regulations is 1/14 of that. So it does limit us $19,000 a year in annual pay raise is not a whole lot. So very quickly your stipends are very limited, and when I give my officer stipends into that we're pushing right up against that limit. So by having everything kind of feeds against itself.
Even another reason to increase the pay rate.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay,
I've
thank you.
talked with Pat McHale about this several times, and he said the town has to be very careful about what they do with stipends and the volunteers, because you may broach that point where they become part-time employees. And we need to be
Gotcha.
careful about that.
Okay. Interesting.
Right, thank you.
Any additional discussion? Tim? Ready to vote? All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Next item is the police staffing request. Kim, you want to alert us on
Yes,
that?
so at the last budget, we budgeted for a part-time officer, and we had recently a full-time officer retire. And so we're looking to hire, instead of a full-time officer at 5 years of service, 2 part-time officers. So we have a candidate that put in his resume after we posted it, and we had a neighboring town do the testing process, so there's no issues with our office doing it. So the town staff will do a ton over there, took care of the test, and I was advised that the candidate passed. So we're requesting to go to the next phase, and to the next phase, we need the letter of intent to hire.
To hire Michael Heavey,
Correct.
who is the
Yeah.
current
Everybody should have.
resident state trooper.
Yeah,
I
he's
think-
retiring at the end of September from the
Right.
state police. So,
I'd like to make a motion that we hire Trooper Michael Heavey in a part-time position as a Summers police officer.
Effective September.
Effective October 1, right?
Right. I second that. I do want to make a comment. I've had the privilege of working with Mike in this position for a number of years. Extremely competent guy, well respected in the town. I didn't realize until I looked at his resume that he won the Bronze Star in Iraq.
Yeah, I was impressed to see that
So
too.
he's a solid citizen.
great resume.
So
However, I'd like to ask Kim a question about the physical requirements. Because I'm looking at the position description, and it says you have to be able to stand, lift, bend, crawl, walk, and run to perform investigative duties. I'm familiar with physical requirements for the military, and I've never seen anything like this before.
And a part of the
Don't you have to be able to run and
Cooper's exam, you know, that kind of
and
thing.
do other things too, like push-ups and pull-ups? And, you don't do any of that?
It's been changed over the years.
Yeah, that's just. I was just interested to see that. I've never seen anything like that.
It's been changed over the years. They've called it a Cooper's exam, if you've heard that before. And so it's varied, so we
Is this an exam that's given periodically to all officers?
I believe most towns do that, that post requires. So.
Just keep it light on the donuts.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Very nice.
Next item is the senior center staffing request. Allison, you want to lead us through that?
Sure. So I'm obviously still in an interim capacity overseeing the senior center, and they've had an open position for a couple of months. One of our drivers left, and our current administrative assistant is opting to actually transition to just being a driver. So that now opened up the administrative assistant position. The 25-hour-a-week position at the senior center. We received over 100 applications for the position in the end. Narrowed it down to 12, brought 4 in for interviews, and we would like to propose Pamela Casso for the position. She comes with a lot of experience working in the Ellington Public School System. She sat on the board for Suffield Academy, worked at Travelers for a period of time, and we just feel like her personality and skill set would be a really good fit for us over there.
I'd like to make a motion that we hire Pamela, is it Casso?
Mm-hmm.
As the senior center administrative assistant at $25 25 hours per week.
At the rate of $17
At the
per
rate
hour.
of 17. What's the rate again?
I second that. Additional discussion?
$17 an hour. I see she also worked for Updike, Kelly, and Spellacy as a litigation paralegal 25 years ago. Impressive.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item is the reappointment of tax collector Lisa Madden and town assessor Walter Topliff. The town charter calls for a 2-year appointment of the collector of taxes and the assessor. In accordance with the town charter, the composition of each panel is made up of 1 member of the Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance, Chief Financial Officer, and a town resident with background in property management or property evaluation. This panel included Mike Marinaccio, Kathy Devlin, Ella Forman, a retired supervisor of assessment and revenue collections for Enfield, and myself as first selectman. We met on August the 26th, and Mike Marinaccio will outline the qualifications of Lisa and Walter Topliff and the recommendations of this panel for the reappointment of Lisa and Walter. Mike?
Yes, see, I provided the group with their credentials, background. I gave them, I don't know if you received the sheets at all.
I never saw it. Nope.
Why don't you go through that, Mike?
I'll give you-
Then you can-
I have an extra copy right here, so the group we went through each of those items in there, their qualifications and their accomplishments over the last 2 years, including their performance appraisal ratings, and some of the more notable accomplishments that they had over the 2 years. So discussion was had amongst the members, and voted unanimously to reappoint each one of them. Each one of them was done individually. The composition of the panel is the same for both, so we did them both at the same time.
When were the terms up?
But actually, the terms probably expired a little bit back in March, and we had gone without anything. A lot of that was COVID related, but we did have their annual reviews in the July, August timeframe, or July, early August timeframe, and then right after that, I contacted Kim and asked her to schedule a panel to consider the reappointment of both of these individuals, and I told her to tell Bud to select the other members of the panel. I made a recommendation for my recommendation for that fourth panel member, Donna Froment, and I said, ask the other panel members if they agree with this selection.
How do you spell the last name?
F-O-R-M-E-N-T.
F-R-O-M-E-N-T.
She was just appointed to the
Yeah,
Board
so-
of Assessment Appeals as
right.
well.
Right, you actually
Yeah.
appointed, in fact, you actually appointed her last meeting to the
Yeah.
Assessment Appeals.
Is there a documentation besides this information here as to the kind of report that was written by the panel, or?
No, the panel did not write a report. Panel voted to recommend, and those documents there are what was discussed. So.
Okay, and the panel's recommendation is unanimous?
Yeah, Della Forman had the opportunity to work with both individuals and spoke very highly of them in her professional capacity and their competency.
Yes, she did.
And what was her professional capacity at the time?
She actually is,
retired.
well, she actually was not supervisor, but the director of both tax and assessment for the town of Enfield. She's a Summers resident. She just retired earlier this year. So. And she's worked with both of them, our assessor and our tax collector professionally, and said they're both top notch.
In fact, she said we're lucky to have them.
Yes, she did.
So the request is to approve a 2-year term.
A 2-year term. The committee did not come up with a term. Selectmen can come up whatever that 2-year term is. You can go retroactive, you can go from today, however you want to do it.
And the retroactive date was based on a prior,
Prior,
2-year term?
Yeah.
Prior 2-year terms, but
Yeah, the charter states a 2-year term. I guess
charter
we're
states a
talking
2-year
about
term, it doesn't say when or how.
Effective date.
that just says reviewable annually.
Yeah, and I
How are
tried-
these things
I-
reviewed annually? I'm curious.
Reviewable annually is to have a performance review annually, so. And I'm just trying to sync up the two of them so that, because they had been kind of somewhat off cycle, just so that we could address them both at the same time.
Does both of their terms expire back in March?
Actually, the tax collectors did. I believe the assessors was maybe in around June or so.
Yeah, they were a couple months off.
So what's the proposal?
Well, I would recommend we
Do them at the
appoint
same
them
time
at the
so we
same
don't
time
forget to
frame.
do it.
Okay, if you go retroactive to when their terms expire, then we won't sync up the
Right.
time. So if you
It'd be
just
nice
go
to
from
sync them up.
today or
From today
whatever,
on,
or
2 years from
your
today.
vote, yeah. Or you could say from
June 1?
You could
That's
say
fine.
July 1, whatever you would like to do. So. And then you'd have to tell the town clerk that so that we actually keep a record
Yeah,
of that
I'll put
when,
it in
when
the
they
minutes,
expire in
too.
the future.
Yeah, we'll put it on the boards and commissions.
Yeah, because I asked the town clerk earlier today what their term was, and she didn't know.
Yeah, it's
No.
not on the boards and commissions, which we should add that, so it's not
I spoke to
forgotten.
Kim about
Kind
doing
of,
that.
Yeah.
Would that classify as?
No, but it's a record keeping thing, that's
Okay.
all. It's just, you can't remember everything. It's like,
We were gonna put the treasurer on there too, so
yeah,
that
put
way
Mike on there too.
we remember
Everybody.
what they're due as well.
The treasurer's date is what?
Yours is what,
April
April?
1st.
April 1st,
That's
yeah.
bad.
Or you could, that's actually, you could do April 1st and all three, right?
All three on the same cycle.
It's really up to you guys.
It seems to me to make sense.
It's all right with me. April 1st, so the motion's on the table.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the what-
2-year appointment.
2-year appointment
of the
term
of the assessor and the tax
of
collector.
the assessor and the tax collector effective
April.
1st, 2021.
Right. I second that. Additional discussion, Tim?
And just say based on the review conducted
Right.
by the
Unanimous opinion of the
panel.
panel.
Very good.
All in favor?
Right.
Aye. Motion passes.
All informed them, thank you.
Let Ann Logan know too.
Absolutely.
So the next item is the scheduled payments. Tim, you received a copy of the scheduled payments sent by Brian.
You did. I did have a few questions from Brian. Yeah, there's the other one right there. Okay. Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we authorize the scheduled payments totaling $423,380.51.
I second that. Additional discussion, questions?
No, I don't have any additional questions.
All in favor?
Right.
I think that's what I got. Yeah?
There you go, Brian. Motion to adjourn?
Motion
you
to
got
adjourn.
Approve the minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry, apologize.
I got
It's
it.
a 9:21.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting, what's the date on that?
September 2nd.
9:21.
Oh.
Excuse me, 9:2. I apologize.
2nd of September.
We're approving minutes for 5 days from now.
Let's pull those out for a second.
Of course.
They're good.
I second that. All in favor?
I have no recommended changes. Aye.
Woohoo.
Ah,
I did it again.
2 for 2.
It's
secretary.
pretty short, though.
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.